Good evening, everyone. This is kind of different to what I'm used to. If you put me into a dressing room with 30 players, or if you put me on the TV screen with a family that I have to roar at to get up a ramp, I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty comfortable. To say I'm outside my comfort zone here would be putting it mildly. And I suppose one of my biggest worries is at times my language might go to a place I shouldn't go to. So, Father, I'll try my best to keep it in check as much as possible. So I couldn't actually believe it when Father John asked me to do this. I was saying to myself, why in God's name would you be asking me to come up here and talk to people in a church about different things? And he said, listen, just share a few journeys in life and a few different things. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Don't know how it'll go. So for the next number of minutes, maybe there's something that might help some people. Maybe there's something that will catch someone in any little bit. I'd be delighted if it helps someone. I suppose probably the reason I'm here is because of my hurling exploits and maybe Fittest family, and you see that lunatic on the sideline or that fella that's roaring non-stop. And I suppose the one thing I'll say to you is judging people probably from the outside is different to what the person is actually like inside. And I'll probably give you a look at that because it's probably a lot different to what you think. Growing up as a young guy, I would actually be the complete opposite to what you see on the sideline or on Fittest family. I would be a guy that sat in the back of the class that did not want to be asked a question. I would probably be a guy that did not mix very well. So I didn't tell you the truth. Would have been unbelievable shy in my early years. All I had an interest in was getting my hurling ball after school. That's all I wanted. So I probably struggled at school a good bit, to be totally honest with you. Would have found it difficult to just, I suppose, playing team sport helped me, but just to communicate with people and that, I did struggle, being honest. And if you look at, I'll give you an example of my early years. My uncle, who I absolutely adore, would come in every Friday night from the age of 4 or 5, pick me up. And first of all, we lived in a 2-bedroom terraced house in 6 Mile Bridge, which was probably the happiest I ever was. Me, my sister, my mum and my dad. And he would come back for Friday night and we'd play goals to goals in the hall. And it was a small hall, 2 hours I'd say, keeping minimum. He would then put me into the car, probably around 10 o'clock. We'd go to the farm. So we would, nearly every Friday night I'd say to him, I'm starving, or I could eat a horse or something. All I wanted was a bag of chips. That's where I was at. But he would do that every Friday night for me, bring me for the bag of chips. Get up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, milk the cows with him. He then bottled his own milk. We'd deliver him in Limerick that day. So it's in and out of the car, the trailer, delivering milk, which I love. Come back, clean out the cow sheds. And then every Saturday night we go to a match. That was my weekend. Probably from 4 or 5 years of age, until I was maybe 14 or 15, I was with my uncle every step of the way, who I adored, who was the person that introduced me to hurling. So my gratitude to my family and to him especially for what he did to me is something I'll never forget. And it's funny, I suppose, he got Parkinson's there maybe 8 or 9 years ago. He moved in with me for 5 or 6 of them. And I was delighted to be able to give something back to him who had given me so much. Unfortunately, he's in a nursing home now, which breaks my heart, but he needed 24-hour care. But when I think back of all he gave to me, it's something I'll never forget, but something I'm immensely proud that I got to spend so much time with him and learn so many different values, which is massive to me because values are very important. I suppose in my journey younger, I went to a school called St. Flannan's Secondary School. All I wanted to go there for was hurling. Education was second, but it was the biggest experience of my life. Being that shy person, I suppose I came across, I was probably bullied pretty badly for 2 or 3 years. So an example would be, I would try and keep to myself on the bus going up in the mornings, but the boys might be walking out, slap an egg down your head and go all over your back, and you're walking into school with that. Or in the evenings, I dreaded they pulling you back to the back of the bus, opening your shirt, drawing on your belly. And I felt so embarrassed, like it was something unreal. It really bothered me. So it did for a long time. Was that is how people could make fun of you when you don't want any attention. And I struggled for a long time. Every Tuesday and Friday I used to actually just go down to the mart at lunchtime rather than hang around at school or do whatever. But I suppose it got to the stage, I can actually remember rather than get my own bus home, I'd get, at 14 years of age, I'd get the bus to Shannon and hitch in home. And I never told anyone, which is a big mistake, because in life I feel a problem shared, and especially when you're younger, is a problem halved. And when you're younger, you have this thing of trying to bottle it up and keep it to yourself. And even when we get older, we do as well. And it's not the thing. The thing is to talk. The thing is to share. I think that's important. I didn't do it. I should have done it. But probably maybe 2 or 3 years into this experience and that, getting a few beatings at school and that, I probably made up my mind enough was enough. And I don't know, Father, you probably won't agree with the next bit what I did, but there was one guy in particular, he was probably a bit bigger than I was, and I built myself up for 2 weeks and I said, I'm going to have a go at this lad. So I went out and I joined in their football match. I give your man the biggest kick ever, and I knew that would start the fight. But mentally I was ready for it. I said, now is the time, and I absolutely let go of everything I had for a while. And it's that particular fight when I decided to stand up for myself, things turned and things changed a bit. And basically what I'm trying to say is that what you see in the sideline, probably what you see in Fitz's family at times, is I'm fighting for what I believe in. I'm standing up, and I want to scrap for every little thing I can. Would I be like that in normal life? Probably not. I'm probably a person that walks down the street a lot of the time with my head down, and it's not down only for kind of, I don't want to be a nine anyone, I don't want to be all over anyone and things like that. But when I have to stand up and fight my corner, I'm able to stand up and fight my corner. I'm probably, it helped me a lot. Hurling helped me a lot when I was growing up. Like, hurling was my saviour. So it was my go-to place. And I suppose when we all come across pressures or things that bother us in life, you need something to go to. I was lucky that I had that, which is important to me. So it was, and it helped me quite a lot, as did my family when I eventually told them what the story was and that. But you know what? I was one of the lucky ones. It made me a bit stronger. It made me grind it out. And all I'd say to anyone, even younger people or even older people, is you're not alone. There's so many people you can talk to and share. And as I said this to you already, please do that. That's so important, because is there ups and downs in life? All the time. All the time. Like sport, I often think about it. When I hear you reading out so many different prayers tonight and how many different people are looking for X, Y, and Z and help, and listen to some of them tonight, and you think you have problems. Not really. Not really. We can get over most of them, so we can. Once my family and people I know are healthy and happy, I'm happy. Actually, to tell you the truth, and it probably took me a bit of time to get there. But when life is up and down, as it is for everybody, isn't it great to be able to go to someone and have a chat? I'm probably a person that has learned not to judge people. Am I perfect? Most definitely not. Have I sinned? Most definitely, yeah. Probably the same as anyone else here. I think you have to realise you're not perfect all the time, and you have to strive to get better. I was saying to a good friend of mine, Bear, this evening, like, there was something I've worked hard on myself over the last 8 or 9 months to be better at. And I think we all need to do that at times, is where you really have a deep look in and think, can I be a bit better, and try to be better? And can I spend more time with the people that really matter? I suppose that's a big thing for me, I actually came up about 3 years ago. I got into, it wasn't a good place anyhow. I was pretty down. Maybe I was a bit burnt out. I found myself going to bed a lot and not being able to get myself out of it, where I was probably just not wanting to do anything. I was going to train, and I was actually, I'll be honest, I was bluffing training a lot of the time. I was pushing them hard, but was I really at it? No, I wasn't. And I think, like, I was probably in that place for 3 or 4 months, not in a good space of wanting to do anything. And I have a 4-year-old, I have a guy in his mid-20s, and I have a guy of 4. And probably after a few months, I started to think to me, Davy, come on. you need to start thinking about things here. Why you like this? What's the story? And believe it or not, I started, and I'm always like this, be it sport, be it business, whatever. I started writing down stuff. What's important in life? What's important? I came up with these 7 things, right? Family and friends, important. Sleep, exercise, food, mental awareness, all right? Having fun time, and work. So there was 7 pillars, and I said, how much time am I spending in each of them? And when I really looked at the balance, I'll tell you, most of my stuff was gone between work. I was probably 80, 90 hours a week, absolutely killing it. Was I giving the time to my family and friends that I should have been? No. My sleep, I never stopped thinking. I was thinking, going to bed late, doing whatever. Exercise was non-existent. I was nearly 15 stone at the time. So I was. My food, junk doesn't describe the amount of food I'd eat. Like I would, I'd have some amount of stuff, I'll tell you. But if I was eating a biscuit, I wouldn't eat one of them, I can promise you that. Probably the whole packet is gone by the time the night is out, so it is. I love my food, too much of it. My mental well-being, my thoughts, never give it much. Fun, I played a bit of golf and that, but I really looked at it and I decided if we haven't got balance in life, and I started to work a bit more on it, and I started to bring down my work right down to maybe 40, 50 hours. I started spending time with my mum and dad a bit more, at home a bit more. I was conscious of my sleep and my exercise. And all I'd say to you is, balance in life is very important. And it's funny, I've actually come up with this. I go in giving talks to companies, and I've come up with this new app that I'm giving to them, which is called 7 Steps to Reset, which is all this. Has it helped me? I can tell you right now, I feel pretty good, pretty amazing, thanks be to God. And I think in life, the most important thing is to feel good. And by getting that balance right, like I was saying to Father tonight, listen, I have to be home by 9:30 tonight. I have to pick my mother up at 9:30. We play cards at around 9:30, 10 o'clock. My mother's 82, and she'll go mad if I'm not there to do this. Will I have crack with my mother tonight? I'll give her some doing playing cards tonight when we go down to the pub, but we'll have fun. I wouldn't miss a Monday night fratting. I love it. I love being around my mother. I probably ring my dad every single day just to ring my dad. I just do it to ring him. So I do, and especially they're getting older, and you appreciate things a lot more. With my wife Sharon, with my son Davy, Cullum, I'm now spending a lot more. I should have done it a long time ago, but it didn't come into my head. As regards the other things, I'm probably in bed most nights now by 9 o'clock. Myself and Davy or even watching some cartoons or something at 9 o'clock. That wouldn't have been me. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Exercise, I'm one of these people that hate going to the gym, but you know what I'll do? I'll do a 30 or 40-minute walk. If I go to the gym, I have to go to the gym and do a minute on this, a minute on this, a minute on this. I have to switch my hands here, switch my hands there, because if I went running for 30 minutes, I'd go bananas. I just couldn't do it. So I come up with little gimmicks to get me there. And once I get a good sweat on me, I feel brilliant. And it's more for my mind than even my body, which I find is good. My food, I've calmed down an awful lot. I've improved out of measure, and I hope I can keep it that way. So I do. A funny thing I do that I'd recommend to everyone is probably 10 minutes, once or twice a day, I will take 10 minutes to breathe, to just put every thought out of my head and just take nice deep breaths, maybe 30, 40 seconds at a time, and just relax and give myself a breather, which I find really good for myself. I do visualize a lot as well in different aspects of my life, but I think having that 10 minutes to yourself, to just shut off, leave down the phone. That phone is probably not the best thing for all of us, let's just say. Times away from it isn't a bad time either, and I've tried to get myself maybe an hour or two during the day where I just down it goes and leave it down, and I think that's a good thing. So I'm learning all the time, so I am, and I think that's important, is to get that balance and spending time around people I really want to spend it around, and accepting people for who they are. I think that's a thing in Ireland. Sometimes we have a problem with we prejudge and pre-see people, and it's something I've definitely made up my mind. I'm not going prejudging anyone. If someone says to me, X is this, that, and the other thing, I'm not going to judge X. The only way I'll judge X is when I go and talk to myself, and when I see what I want to see, I'll make up my own mind. And you know what I've learned from probably hurling and sport is, and it's taken me a long time, to get the best out of anybody, I have to accept the person they are. Do I want to get certain messages through to me? Yeah, but I have to accept who they are, and I try my best to do that. So I do, and I think accepting people is very important. Now, I've probably gone on way too much there, so I do, but I hope someone might get something out of that, and I'll be delighted to meet some of you afterwards. Anyone wants to chat, there's no problem. As I said, far from perfect I am, and I'm definitely not telling anyone what to do, but if there's any little bit that helps anyone, I'm delighted. Thanks for having me here tonight, and all I want to do is wish everyone extreme happiness and health, and that's all we can all ask for. So thanks for having me here tonight, and enjoy. Thank you.